And hey, how you doing, guys? It is Nick Bibbee, and I talked to a few of the monster truck drivers, but now I am talking with Mr. Jim. What exactly is your title, Mr. Jim?
I guess you'd be called the promoter.
Promoter. How long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been doing the monster trucks for about 20 years. I mean, it's actually the promoter of the event. It's my event. I go out and find the venues of the events, hire the talent, do the marketing, advertising, ticketing, security.
Tremendous amount of stress. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, a lot of work, but it's cool. Working for yourself has its merits. The downside is if you're working for somebody else, usually you get a paycheck. If you're working for yourself, you never know. This was a pretty good turnout, and it's always been one of the better shows in the country, and it's surely in Louisiana. People in this area really settle on, really love motorsports.
You say you're the promoter. You've been doing it for 20 years. What got you into that position?
Well,
were you actually ever in the middle of the trucks, or you know you're good as far as like the promotion side?
Actually, I had a really good sports background. Played a lot of baseball and collegiate some, and had a chance to play professionally. My father was a really good athlete. Had played college ball and pro football. He became a high school principal and an educator, so he believed in education. So I actually did the baseball thing, but studied really hard and started my first job in the chemistry department for a big paper company. But that wasn't my true love, and I liked music, but I wasn't a very good musician. But I had some friends that became really famous in the music world, and so I started booking concerts in Ohio, and like doing that more than working for the paper company. It became a conflict of interest, and the next thing I knew my income was based off of the events I was doing. So along came the original Tough Man boxing contest, and everybody, oh, you're an athlete, you should go fight in that, whatever. So I gave it a whirl and did okay, and met the guy who founded that whole thing and started doing Tough Man fights for him, and worked my way up to a partnership on the events that I did. Of course, some of the famous people that used to travel with us were like Mr. T, and guys like Tommy Morrison, who became a world champ, and Buster Douglas, and the big 400-pounder Butterbean out of So became really good friends with those guys, and I did that for 30 years.
Wow.
30 years is a long time. I didn't want to work for anybody else. I kind of wanted to do my own thing. It's like, what in the world am I going to do? And I was fortunate enough to meet somebody that was connected with the wrestling star Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he said, you know, if you do a monster truck show, I think I might be able to introduce you to Stone Cold. In fact, we have a truck that he's allowed us to put his picture on and logo on.
Yeah.
He said, you know, so if you book the truck, we can get him to come and do autographs. And I thought, wow, the guy's humongous, you know. And the first show I did was Laredo, Texas, which was right up the road from where he was from. So I booked a Stone Cold truck and Stone Cold Steve Austin in person, some other trucks, and I did this show at the fairgrounds in Laredo, which had seating for 3,500 people. An 8,000 people show.
Oh, wow.
And so as soon as you got up out of your seat, the next wave came in, right? It was funny, just like, but they liked the monster trucks, but they all came to see Stone Cold Steve Austin. So I did this autograph session. 5,000 people paid an extra per diem to meet him. The line was so long that the whole monster truck show started and completed before some of the people even got through the line.
Wow.
They didn't care. So I thought, this is going to be cool, and this is what I'm going to do. Well, it didn't always turn out that way, but getting to know Steve was good because I started doing shows all over the country. And then he introduced me to Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and The Undertaker, and Johnny Laurer, which was China, and Kane, and so I would book them and bring trucks in. Now, some of them had trucks named after them, but some of them didn't, but it didn't make a difference. You did a monster truck show, but those people wanted to meet those superstars.
Exactly.
And so I started doing the monster truck shows. I'm not really a motorhead. To me, the promotion thing and the cool thing about these events are it's to see kids smile, you know you're doing a cool thing. And there's so many kids that come to these events, and just, so I do it, it's working, and I like it, and met so many cool people along the way. So many good corporate sponsors, you know, the restaurant chains and the soda companies and the beer companies and the car dealerships and the furniture companies and casinos, and so doing a lot of shows. Still do some UFC style cage fights.
Yeah.
Booked some talent like Larry the Cable Guy, and still doing some concerts. And another event I'm doing is the PRCA Pro Rodeos. And if you're familiar with an event called BFO, Bullfighters Only, it's a freestyle bullfighting, but it's the X Games of rodeo. And so I'm doing a lot of those events, and we're talking about doing one here, and people will go crazy.
So you've been in this position in a way for about 50, going on about 50 years.
50 years, you know what?
And you're still looking to do.
And
all
when I
these
say
other
that,
things.
people will say, well, how old are you? But I'm getting up there. But I've been involved in doing some kind of events for like 45 years.
So people want to retire after 30 years, and you just keep on going.
Well,
you just work
part of
on
that,
it.
part of that I think is though the love, and part of it because when I was young, I never, I thought I knew it all, and I never planned for the future. I lived for the day, so I never really put myself in that position to sit back and go, I'll take it easy. But I think even if financially I could do that, I wouldn't do it anyway. It's cool. I love coming to Alexandria. I like going to my show in Las Vegas. I like doing my show in Georgia. I've done all the Texas colleges, Texas Tech, Texas A&M. I've done that. And you meet a lot of friends along the way, and you look forward to going back to that town. And hey, Bill, how's Sam? Hey, Steve, how you doing? And going having a bite to eat, and the guy from the tow company, and yeah, I think that's my life, and it's pretty cool.
So in the middle of all this stress, you do have some relieving factors such as that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the stress motivates me. I think I like to think that I can overcome that stuff. I mean, to drive 1,000 miles on a Sunday afternoon, leaving at noon, to drive 1,000 miles from Ohio, where I live, to come to Alexandria.
Wow.
To get there at, so if you leave at noon, it's a 13-and-a-half-hour drive. So you get in there at 6, 7 in the morning, you take a shower, and you work all day. And then if you're leaving that weekend, you do the same thing on Friday. You leave Friday at 5 o'clock, and you get in Saturday morning at 7, 8 a.m. You take a shower, and you hang out with your family or friends. It takes a unique person to do that. Sometimes it's kind of cold-hearted because, gosh, I want to see my friends and my family, and my kids, and I have a couple adopted kids I raised, and I want to see my dad. But I think that motivates me for somebody to say, man, how does that guy do it? So I like it. So I look forward to coming back here next year. But this was a stressful weekend because it didn't make a difference what we did or who did it. We just tore up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, 4 out of the 6 trucks by the end of the night.
Probably
now, granted, 2 of them broke down at the end. It wasn't like you had 2 trucks the entire event.
No, but just the damage of, and it was just in the normal flow of the show, wheelies and donuts and the torque and blowing motors. But there was $100,000 worth of machinery destroyed this weekend. It wasn't they went through a brick wall or they did a triple backflip or they flew. It was just that stress and force, and nothing's made to take that kind of punishment. That torque and 2,000 horsepower, but front ends busting and trannies busting and motors being blown. But that's what you do. Thank heavens we had extra trucks, had some of the best BMX cycle guys in the land.
That was amazing.
And them guys are amazing.
Yeah.
It's the second time I've used them. I'm impressed. People like them. They all about putting on a show, meeting the people, the kids, and so we had plenty of show. But our normal show when we end here, it's just insane. I mean, the freestyles are usually crazy, but we didn't get that tonight. It was okay, but I think people know our normal, the normal results for our show. So with that being said, I think they'll be back here next year. They can find extreme monster trucks. They can find Monster Truck Winter Nationals. HorsepowerPromotions.com is the website. Fist of Fury Cage Fights. You can find social media on all them events. 3 of these trucks are scheduled for a performance next week right here in Louisiana in Shreveport.
Okay.
So they got a lot of work to be doing to be ready by next Friday.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine the stress they're going to be under right now.
But they love it. You know, they will break it and they'll complain about it, bitch about it, and then they'll be right back at it, and they love it. And you know what? They'll get it fixed, and they'll tear it up again, and they'll get. It's a bizarre. You talk about stress and a weird thing. I mean, I don't know how you ever get ahead, because whatever you fix, you're tearing it up for sure. And
it's that passion, the love, the drive.
And you know, the financial part. No matter what the payoff is, no matter what the purse is, there's absolutely no way with all that destruction to really make any money. You're right. It's the love of being in that autograph line after the show and have some kid come up and going, you know what, you're my favorite. I'm sorry you didn't win tonight, but I know you're the best. And the guy says, wow, you know, I didn't do any good, and I blew my motor, and there's some 6-year-old little boy over there telling me I'm the best. That's what it's all about for them guys. And it's cool for me to be able to see that, you know, to say, wow, I'm doing something good for people. And of course, we tie into a lot of charities for a lot of our events, Make-A-Wish, and some of the fundraisers are for St. Jude's, and we're usually tying into a lot of local stuff, military appreciation, wounded warrior kind of programs. That is rewarding, though, to know that, and we get a lot of calls from the orphanages, people who have different names for them, the sheriff's homes or whatever, and for a lot of calls from people that have disabilities, and some people that are way less fortunate than me. Had a single mom, hit me up on Facebook, and she tried to win tickets on the internet. She didn't. She said, gosh, my little boy, it's always talking about coming to this show and meeting Spider-Man and doing that. It's like, come, I left her some tickets, and she came out and was like, wow, thanks. You know, and that's cool. That does make me feel, because I'm just a regular dude. I work hard, don't have any big bucks or nothing like that. That is a cool thing for me to sit there and go, it puts a smile on my face to know that somebody got a chance to come to this show that would have never had a chance to come, and I had a part in that, so that is a cool thing.
Yeah, it all comes down to, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice.
Yeah, I guess that's well said.
So, Mr. Jim, I really want to thank you for taking your time. I know you've been running everywhere all day, and I want to thank you for taking just a few minutes to come talk to me.
Thanks for having me.
Make sure to check out Jim and all of his events that he promotes. All the links are going to be in the description, and also you've seen them displayed on the screen. I'm Nick Bibbee, and this is Mr. Jim, and we're out. Have a great weekend.
Peace out.